Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Human Brain series. Basically, here's what I told you guys. I said I want to bring you guys new and exciting content, different content, but I don't want to just bore you guys and give you educational stuff. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to talk about the human brain for this series, and here's how I came up with this idea. I was reading a book. It was called The Brain. It's this one right here. And I was learning stuff, and I'm just like, man, how do they not teach this in school? Seriously. How do we not know this? How is this not normal, knowledge? So I realized they just don't teach you it at school. They don't want you to win. So I'm like, you know what? When I come back to YouTube and it finally happened, I want you guys, as you're watching, I want to teach you guys things that honestly is going to be really impressive that you guys learn about how the brain actually works. We're going to be talking about the memory. We're going to be talking about how to make yourself happy, different ways you can actually hack your brain and make yourself happy. Just different things about the brain and what actually goes on in your brain. Because sometimes we feel like, man, we're stuck in a rut. We're just stuck in this pattern of maybe depression or something like that. I realize, or I'm starting to learn about what actually goes on. So stay tuned, watch the series, and we're gonna be posting this at least once a week. So stay tuned, we're gonna be posting this series every week. Make sure to subscribe down below. Kaz, you guys remember me. Remember I used to do videos like this? Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It's your boy Kaz Official, and welcome to another video. Today I'm with Mo Sarji at the
Yo, Slenderman Ruins, boy.
Exactly. It is currently about 11 p.m. right now, and we're in the middle of nowhere. I'm gonna show you guys just in a sec. Well, now that we're gonna be learning about the brain, we can kind of find out what was happening in those videos. All right, so the first episode is about multitasking. And if you're like me, you feel that you can do 30 things at once. You can eat fries, burgers, and pizzas at once. Watch a movie, talk to your girlfriend, maybe to two girlfriends, multitasking two girlfriends or boyfriends. Don't do that, kids. Maybe you want to do homework, you want to do a bunch of things together, and that's what I do. But we researched it. Apparently, you can't multitask. Your brain cannot actually multitask. Here's what I mean. So the way our brains are wired is we're meant to be monotaskers, meaning we're supposed to do one task at a time and give that task our full focus. So what neurologists actually say is that we're not actually multitasking. What we're really doing is doing two things at once. Well, not at once. We're doing things back to back in rapid succession. So you might do this, then that, then this, then that, then that. You can't actually do both at the exact same time. And the entire concept of multitasking came out in 1965, literally with computers. So they designed computers to do two things at once. And the term multitasking was born in 1965, and people were like, the computer can do this and this at one time. Humans can probably do this and this at one time. So it's a relatively new concept in human history. All right, let's take a step back and actually realize what part of the brain is trying to multitask. The part of the brain that handles executive controls is called the cerebral cortex. These controls are divided into two stages. First stage is goal shifting. This happens when you shift from one task to another, goal shifting. And the second stage is called rule activation. And the second stage is called rule activation. And basically what that does is your brain shuts off the rules from the first task and it's like, now I need new rules for the second task. So for example, if you're eating, you don't need to be eating while playing Call of Duty. So now your brain's like, hey, done eating. Now I gotta play Call of Duty, or vice versa. It's called rule activation, and that's the second stage of what happens in the cerebral cortex of your brain. Okay, what does all this mean? Basically, the science says that only 2.5% of people can actually multitask effectively. And for the other 97-98% of people, multitasking can actually hurt you and can hinder your performance. Studies show that our brains actually become way more inefficient when we try to go from one task to another. And each time you do it, you lose more and more focus until you randomly end up watching cat videos for 2 hours on YouTube. So the multitasking divides our attention. You try to give your attention to this thing and to that thing. You can't give 100% here or 100%. You can't even give 50 and 50%, because what happens is when you go from here to here, you're kind of still thinking about this task while trying to do this task. So you actually diminish yourself much more. So a surgeon did a recent study, and here it is. So people assume that a surgeon's best skill is their ability to have steady hands, but that's not the case. A surgeon's best ability is their ability to focus on one task for literally hours and hours on end. But here's the thing, surgeons aren't actually born with the ability to do this. They gotta learn this and practice this over and over again. And throughout the years, they've been able to develop this extreme patience on doing one task at a time. Imagine a surgeon's doing heart surgery. He's texting here, and he's eating pizza over there, and he's crying over it. Come on, the person would probably die. So that's an extreme example of when you actually have to focus on one thing at a time. Here's some crazy stats based on recent studies. Each time you go from task to a task, it takes you about 15 minutes to reorient yourself from this task to the other. You literally waste 15 minutes going from here to here for your brain to readjust. Going from, again, eating pizza to playing Call of Duty or to doing homework, your brain's taking time to be like, hey, I'm done eating pizza, I'm done eating that incredible cheese, I'm done. Now let's go back to doing our homework, math, science, all that kind of. 15 minutes to reorient yourself. Inefficiency can drop by as much as 40% when you go from task to task. And your long-term memory suffers, as does your creativity, because you're just not able to focus on a single task and you're always just thinking about that one, you're thinking about this one, and it's just not efficient. This is why people love to go into flow. So for me personally, whenever I'm working on something and somebody tries to, and I'm in flow, like it takes 10, 15, 20 minutes to get into flow. People say it takes 30 minutes to get into flow. You know what I'm talking about. When you're just super focused on a task, whenever somebody calls my name, yo, look, I'm like, shh. Literally, I don't even acknowledge them. I'm just like, shh, stop. Because if I look at you, I'm not gonna be able to stay in flow and focus. So people typically love to get into this flow. So if you're trying to do something and you're trying to focus, turn off your camera. Turn off your notifications. Just turn off your phone for 20, 30 minutes. My phone has a Zen mode. My phone literally has a Zen mode where you're able to click Zen mode and it just shuts off. You're literally not even able to use your phone for 20, 30 minutes. So for you, maybe that's turning off your phone, turning it back on, just to be able to focus on one thing. Get a break from social media for a second. Unless you're consuming Dreamwell content, which there's our pages all on the screen, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter. But if you're not consuming Dreamwell content, then turn off your phone and focus on that task. Notifications, the worst distractions of them all. So the thing is, when notifications were created, they weren't created because they were supposed to care about your day or they're supposed to worry about how much they distract you. These companies, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, all they care about is bringing users onto their platforms. So they want to ding, ding, ding. I haven't had my notifications turned on in 2 years. Ask anybody I know. Literally, if you call me, I actually don't get a call from you. It's like, I'll give you a good analogy. I'll give you a good example. You remember back in the day where you'd have to go to the mailbox to get your mail? So your mail wouldn't be able to appear in front of you. You'd have to go to the mailbox, open it, bring it back to you. That's how I treat my apps. I don't get notifications, so I gotta physically open the app. I don't even have social media on my phone. I have it on another device just in case I need to use it. That's how much I try to avoid distractions. But the way I do it is I open the app, just like I open the mail, and then I'm like, hey, who has messaged me? What are the notifications? Then I close it and that's it. I go back to living presently. I go back to just living my own life. Then when I want to go back to social media, I'll open it again, I'll look at it, and I'll do what I gotta do. Here's another crazy stat. One researcher says that distractions cost companies in the US $650 billion. I think what they do is they add up all the time, lost focus and effort, and they're like, hey, there's definitely no productivity going on here. But think about that, almost $1 trillion wasted because of interruptions in the workplace. So what can we do? Are we doomed? No, you can try to focus on one task at a time rather than trying to multitask, because you have the same 24 hours in a day. Your brain is just, there's too much stimuli, there's too much stuff that you're consuming, so you always feel like you gotta be doing 40 things at once. Try to focus on one task at a time. Secondly, know when to close your door or turn off your phone. Be like, yo, from 4:30 p.m. to 5 p.m. every day, I'm just gonna turn off my phone and have me time. You cannot distract me. Meditate, go outside, go take a walk without your phone. Sometimes I do that, and trust me, I swear guys, you become so much happier when you're able to give yourself a break once a day. Thirdly, admit to yourself that not all content and information is super useful. If you see something and you read a headline and it looks depressing, COVID-19 77th mutation comes up. If you don't need that information, just don't take it in. It's literally gonna make you depressed. You don't need it, and it's gonna take your focus off something else you're probably trying to do anyway. All right, so we talked about multitasking and why your brain doesn't like to do it. Your brain likes to get into a flow, so when you start doing one thing, try to focus your efforts on that one thing. Another thing, like I said, try to turn off your notifications, get me alone time. And another thing, try to get alone time or try to have a closed door policy for yourself. Once a day, try not to use your phone at night while trying to go to sleep. Don't try to multitask and think about things and be on your phone and try to do homework. Just try to monotask, try to do one task at a time. The brain doesn't like doing it. I hope you guys learned something new today. This is why I'm doing this series, guys. Smash the like button right now. Comment below what you think about multitasking. Let me ask you guys, do you guys multitask? And what do you multitask with? What do you usually do? Do you listen to a podcast and play video games? That's not a bad multitask, by the way, because you don't need to focus on any of those. So I guess some multitasking is okay, like eating and watching TV, that's fine. But if you're trying to focus on something and be productive, multitasking isn't the best idea. But comment below, guys, what do you guys multitask with? And are you able to do it effectively? Do you think you're able to do it effectively? Are you the 2.5% that can do it? Comment below, guys. Thanks so much for watching. Make sure to follow us on all the social media platforms. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.